If I remember, you went a bit early, na? You were ready to sit. Let's start. What I was doing geography. So today they have given me one history chapter as well. Because you wanted to finish that. So the first lecture you tell me what they have.
We started
just. But where you absent in between, I think I have put windows a little bit ahead.
Minerals is done.
Fully
Completed, yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I was absent.
That's what I remember.
We have completed.
Please.
Transported in
What we will do, you want me to start this because the other two goodies, Buddhu, we will be seeing.
Siddhant to
Alright, okay. You have it, sorry, Vijay, you have your key, I will have it after my email. So you want me to start with transport or you want me to start with something else? Because transport is the first lecture they have given me geography.
Then history, then geography.
It's up to me then. So shall we finish studying civics chapter first and then continue 2 chapters of geography? By the time these, then tell me civics, which chapter? Prime Minister President.
No, Prime Minister President happening.
So she is doing it.
No, after happening.
Kar diya. Now which chapter they have asked you to do?
Supreme Court. We started main qualifications.
Where? President or Prime Minister?
Prime Minister President हो गया.
Now President.
नहीं वो भी हो गया.
Council of Ministers.
Supreme Court का.
Okay.
Supreme Court के जज की qualification करनी थी.
हो गया.
Term of office करनी थी. Impeachment से स्टार्ट.
Okay. Just understand. Any idea? Done in your schools? Even if it is done very badly. Very. Why should the judge be removed?
No confidence.
That is for the ministers. Generally, once a judge appointed, correct? He has a high job security. You understand the meaning of the job security? No, don't understand. Oh my God. He cannot be generally removed as a general. But it is not that it is impossible. He can be removed. But it is not impossible. He can be removed on the grounds of proved misbehavior. I'm using the word proved misbehavior or any charges or etc. etc. Now, what does the Constitution has said? The impeachment process. Right. In a very strict setup. What is the meaning of a strict setup? It is not easy to start. At the same time, it is not impossible. How will they do first? The Parliament, both LS and RS, will give a handwritten notice to whom? To the concerned judge. Just judge ke upar impeachment pass hota. Concerned judge. And generally, you will be given a 14 days prior notice. Sir? Oh my God.
I have completed.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. One packet having a lower chat. Understood. Thank you. 14 days of prior notice is given. And on the prescribed day, or I can say date, the judge has to present in the parliament. Okay? The hearing may start and the voting will also. Of both LS and RS. Now the case is like this, correct? Now the case is like this, it has to be passed by a special majority. And you tell me what is special majority according to you? Total members out of 552, abhi 550 hai, total members who are present and voting. I'm saying who are and voting because many are present but they do not take part in the voting. Close to, you can say 1/3 नहीं है, more than half. I said 2/3. More than half. You understand, more than half. Once this bill is passed, then it is signed by the. Then the impeachment process is complete. Till date, only one I can say, not Supreme Court, he was a High Court judge. He was unfortunately from my small town called Chennai. He has given a false age certificate and caste certificate. वो SC नहीं था, age भी by ने कम कर दिया और what is that? Caste भी उसने wrong रखा. He was proved and he was fired. But generally, in our judiciary history, impeachment process is very, very rare. But there is an option that if at all we find any problem, maybe with his credentials, studies, experience, plus his qualification, plus he has done some very mistake, impeachment process is done. Okay, so let's write that. Or in checking the textbook, what are the points given? Instead of adding giving textbook points will be very simple and easy. Which one you want to give? My points you like it or the textbook points you like it? Okay. Okay, let's mark and move it. Today you will also mark and pencil that manifest. See, you are the school teachers are teaching exactly from here only. Quite okay for you to learn or they do each separate.
Not separate notes. Some profile registration notes, but I don't have that.
So how about my notes? Are you making? Are you writing in the exam? Are they giving marks? Confirm. No cutting. हाँ मैंने वो ले लिया. थोड़ी देर में आता हूँ फर्स्ट ब्रेक में. एक लो मैं देता हूँ. पॉइंट्स नहीं. ये हो जाने के बाद then we can start our normal line. इसके बाद कोई चैप्टर नहीं चाहिए. This is she has done.
Then there is no history now. Talent movement is also doing.
अच्छा, are you getting madam's lecture now?
Tomorrow also.
मेरा इधर मेरा को पता है ना. ठीक है राइट. impeachment. Supreme and High Court Judge, once appointed, Supreme and High Court Judge once appointed, enjoys high job security. Once appointed, enjoys high job security. That is retirement only after 62 years. Retirement only after 62 years of age. Second. But the Constitution has made special provisions. But the Constitution has made special provisions for उसका नाम क्या है? कवर इसके ऊपर कुछ रखते हैं but the Constitution has made provisions for the removal procedure of the judges. Hyphen, removal procedure of the judges. Hyphen. Put it into double inverted comma, impeachment. देखो ये इंट्रोडक्शन टेक्स्ट बुक में क्या लेकिन सैम बंद कर दें योर फीलिंग कोड I said you to get up and sorry. What's that? And you know I couldn't say those. Okay. Next one. It is the process through which both the houses of the parliament take part in the removal procedure through or prior notice. You understand prior notice? PRIOR. Of 14 days in advance. To the concerned judge. Okay, next. The Judge Inquiry Act. The Judge Inquiry Act. J and I should be capital as well as A. The Judge Inquiry Act. ACT. Of 1968 allows the inquiry to be conducted against the concerned judge. Sneezing. Next. It is both the houses of parliament must pass this impeachment bill with a special majority. Change the paragraph. Once the bill is passed, and the the president's assent, the judge is said to be impeached. Hyphen on the charges of
एक साइंस का क्वेश्चन था
नहीं क्या करूँ
साइंस
बट इसका बीन वाला सीखेगा
ये वाला ये क्वेश्चन आपने
कौन सा क्वेश्चन है अच्छा ये 60 which one वो बच्चा कौन है उसमें डाउट क्या बच्चे को क्वेश्चन को डाउट क्या अभी क्या like maybe if yes what is the doubt
Sir, in this question, it's written that was a bit
no what's the different voltage is different okay that is the confusion you are showing me this question here that is correct if one is volt this one should be watt and this one should be volt that's what you are saying na कौन है कौन है हाँ तो लगा ना मैडम को what else confirm na but you will cross check now देखो as you are saying one we are saying if both is the same one should be a voltage and other should be a wattage correct जैसे ये भी तो wrong है
हाँ तो एक रेशियो है इसमें करना है the same one will be volt
correct फिर भी एक बार क्रॉस चेक करने दो you know the answer for this one now confusion is for what this one
no like इसकी तरह ये भी volter
हाँ अब मैंने रिवर्स कर दिया ना तो suddenly came for me a science doubt so minor I can go ahead now you go ahead with this ratio and then write the test by the time if it gets connected to your teacher he will double check okay so that ऐसे क्या एक्सप्रेस किया बुल
किसी और ने
नहीं पेपर एक ही क्वेश्चन पेपर इज द सेम शी इज राइटिंग नॉट अ रेगुलर स्टूडेंट लिखा इम्पीचमेंट or impeached. Now put the heading independence of spring. नहीं कुछ भी मत बोलो नहीं ये बोला और मैंने पढ़ाया बेटा देख लो हमारे साइज का ढंग बनने हैं okay now write the heading पहले मैं explain करूँगा independence of judiciary लिख दो या अगर एग्जाम में सुप्रीम कोर्ट आया तो बेचारे look when I'm explaining this topic I'll explain in a very simplest manner we have one is legislature correct other is
executive
okay third is okay now you tell me this legislature and executive are they connected and linked with one another
yes
but then constitution framers have made a small watertight compartment like this. What does it mean that judiciary is independent? Am I using the right word? Independent from whom? From legislature and executive. Now the question is not why. I'm saying how. How it is independent? Let us answer the question how. First, appointment. Is it done by both these people? No. It is done only by the president. Correct? Correct? Then the salaries and their privileges are fixed by directly by the what is that? I'll tell you. And then even the removal procedure is very strict Correct है? So due to ये क्या बोला salaries and privileges are fixed from the consolidated fund. Consolidated मतलब जो इंडिया का खजाना वहाँ से इनका direct salary है. Nobody can decrease their salary. नहीं साहब आपका salary नहीं. Fix है या तो increase होगा या तो उतना ही रहेगा. It's as good as the salary of a president of India, or as good as a facility like what he enjoys. So due to all this reason, I said definitely it is independent. Now the question arises was one, the judges while passing the judgment, correct? They should act without any fear or favor. Now do you explain the word fear? When the judgment is to be passed or against the president or against the minister, he might use his influence to influence the judgment. That is fear. What is favor? He might do some under the table practice for which the salaries of the judges are very high, very fixed. If you are the judge, if you are passing a judgment on me, and Shruti, आपको करो, आप बोलेगा तू क्या देगा? उससे 3 गुना बड़ा फ्रिज मेरा रहता है, उससे भी better facility में मैं रहते हैं. I don't want because so the judges have to act without any fear or favor. Next, it ensures what kind of judgment? Impartial judgment. The third and the most important, due to this reason only, the common people have full faith in whom? In the judiciary. अभी आप देखता नहीं है, कल केजरीवाल का मिनिस्टर कोटा के लिए के देखा? His name is Mani Singh Sisodia. वो जाते जाते नहीं उठाया नहीं, अभी चालू है प्रोसेस. बोलता है कि मैं गांधी जी का भक्त हूँ और मैं भगत सिंह हूँ. जो बीजेपी ने उसको ठोका, बोलते कि भगत सिंह का अनुकस्ट है अंदर मतलब जाते जाते बोलते कि मैं शुद्ध है, मैं ये है, मैं भगत सिंह का भक्त हूँ, मैं गांधी जी का भक्त हूँ. अरे गांधी जी इस काम से तो जेल में नहीं, that was for different reason. So we always believe the judiciary means judiciary is independent from legislature and executive. When we draw this picture and keep, आपका माइंड में रहेगा फिर आंसर करोगे. आपके वो उधर वाले बच्चे मिलते कभी ऐसे ऐसे शासन वो मिला था, उसका ओनर मिला था. अच्छा बोलते हैं समझ लो है ना. उधर उधर it's time that your next 2 lectures will be confirmed. ऐसे क्यों ये लोग नहीं आ रहे सुसर? और वो तो वॉलंटियर स्कूल में भी जा सकते हैं. एक काम करो, इंडिपेंडेंस बड़ा बड़ा है ना, तो इफ यू वांट टू राइट आईएमडी का अभी के लिए, इंडिपेंडेंस ऑफ जुडिशरी सिंपली मींस independence of judiciary simply means, so even other teachers teaching like this only, but in science and math you got more teachers now, more students, but then also the teachers are taking full lecture, they are not leaving. Okay, right. It simply means that judiciary is totally independent from its other 2 organs, hyphen legislature and executive. Legislature and executive. Second point. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन फ्रेमर्स, शॉर्ट में लिखो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को, कैसे लिखने का शॉर्ट में? ऐसा कैसे? उसके लिए कुछ रहता है। कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन फ्रेमर्स have made a judiciary as a separate watertight compartment because, alright, 1, 2, 3, because judges must act without any fear or favor, without any fear or favor in passing any judgment. Point. They should pass an impartial judgment, keeping in mind only the righteousness. Right. What is this? Righteousness. Righteous. And what is the Hindi word for righteousness? Not too good. Take it. Second. Not second. The Constitution ensures high salaries, high fixed salaries. The Constitution ensures high fixed salaries, privileges which are charged on the, careful, you want any spelling, please ask, which are charged on the CFI. What is CFI? Consolidated Fund of India. That is our Indian Treasury. So the salary comes from there. This is the one, consolidated. So nobody can reduce the salary. Consolidated Fund of India. Consolidated Fund of India. Next. It is a must to run the democratic setup. It is a must to run the democratic setup smoothly and efficiently. And also to restore faith of common people over the justice and the judgments. Semicolon. Ultimately over judiciary. Ultimately over judiciary. Check this answer and then read it. You'll find that this answer goes very smooth. You won't have any trouble in reading this and writing this, and hopefully getting a best mark. I hope. And then cross check with your textbook because I don't even look into that what they are doing. Yeah, that rise of dictatorship, it is just left out. Na? She is gonna Nazism and fascism. So now that World War I and II are ready for the test. That time also you were alone. All the two, okay. उसका नाम क्या first name Satyan. I call him as a Raja. And let's cross check it with your textbook and then come back.
During financial emergency, there was the salary will not change.
I mean,
Like, if there was financial emergency,
right.
only judges the salaries.
Yes, correct. Oh, who told you, man?
Or it is
Acha, it's correct. That's what I told you, na? That इनका जो salary it is directly coming from the consolidated. For example, the salaries of MP, MLAs, even the prime ministers and presidents can be cut. But judges, why? One, to become a High Court or a Supreme Court judge is not ordinary. Two, they are dealing with cases which, how would I say, which is resembling the picture of the nation. Correct. The entire world is watching what Supreme Court of India is giving justice, judgment on this Yan Vapi. I don't know how do you remember the judgment, but I know it very clearly. When Ram Janma Babri Masjid, the judgment was delivered, Modi was not in town. He was in some different part of the India. But I remember the judgment was all said ki, title should be to jayega. But then the case of that Ram Babri Masjid was dragging for close to 350 years. But I should ask the judge, 350 years for judgment, judiciary किधर था? Where was judiciary? तो independence के बाद आपने Supreme Court बनाया ना. But then, I don't know whether it is correct to say, do you understand or not? It is Aurangzeb who not only destroyed the temple. Look at that, what do I say, tenacity. I will explain that in the tenacity. He buried all the remains under that mosque and he constructed the mosque. It happened somehow that some people dug the earth for some other work, and they started finding the artifacts which are. This is how the case started. And since after the death of Aurangzeb, there was no strong king, the problem started there. But kept pending, and finally, I don't know, there is a chapter, 10th CBSE Civics, the name of the chapter is Political Parties, in which I explain different political parties. Okay. So when I explain BJP has put in their agenda, jab banata ye party, that we will fight for Ram temple completely. We will remove the Article 370. Done it. We know what is the bigger agenda going on. अभी मैंने आप आने से पहले 2 मिनट छुट्टी हो जाएगा. One India, one nation, and one law. मतलब all over India, high courts interpret laws as per their state. मतलब महाराष्ट्र हाई कोर्ट बोलते हैं कि ये जो रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन है वो महाराष्ट्र में ही चलना है. And you go to Gujarat High Court, the laws are more or less same. But you understand? So the government of India बोलता है we should have UCC. What is UCC? Uniform Civil Code. I mean now the Muslims and the Christians are very unhappy. Why unhappy? All over India, they might be under trouble if any problem arises in UP, any problem. अभी क्या वो state का अलग-अलग laws के वजह से लोग बच जाते हैं. Especially अभी Kerala, for example. I don't know whether you are too able to understand, but फिर भी बोलता हूँ. Kerala is the single most state in India which supplies maximum terrorists to ISIS. Sorry to say, international figure बताए कि सबसे ज़्यादा terrorists इंडिया से आते हैं, वो भी केरला से आते हैं. और ISIS आके आज दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा wanted terrorist group है. High Court of Kerala more or less protects more or less. वे ज़्यादा दूर मत जाओ. ये जो मदरसा का जो काउंटिंग चल रहा था यूपी में नहीं ऑल ओवर इंडिया, यूपी में सबसे ज़्यादा. जैसे more than 7,200 मदरसा मतलब इनका इस्लामिक स्टडी सेंटर बच्चों के. 7,200 मदरसा के रजिस्टर ही नहीं. तो लोग ऐसे रख के आते हैं फॉरेन कंट्री से, बोलते हैं मैं मौलाना है, बट वो मौलाना ही है. अभी आपका कोई बहन या भाई है जो बेचारा 7 साल का है या 8 साल का है, उसका माइंड में मैं डालता हूँ कि इस्लाम ऐसा है, हिंदुस्तान हमारे पर राज कर रहा है, हमको कभी ना कभी काफिरों का ये करना है, सर उनसे जुदा करना, बोलना भी नहीं, फिर सर कलम करना है, तू बरकत हो जाएगा, तू अल्लाह में. अभी वो छोटा बच्चा 8 साल की उम्र से लेकर 15 साल तक अगर मैं यही बोलते जाऊँ, उसके माइंड में तो एंगर ही रहता है. So now the government of India is doing सबसे ज़्यादा तो आसान. My own good friend comes from there. उतना क्यों? You know this Republic channel ना? Republic channel जिसमें आपने कोसों में चला जाता है ना? He is a Bengali fellow, but he comes from Assam. मतलब मैंने खुद अपने होम टाउन में देखा भी नहीं 20 साल पहले कि बांग्लादेश पूरा मुस्लिम आ रहा है और उधर ही सेटल, बांग्लादेश से आ रहा है मुस्लिम पूरा सेटल. 20 साल के बाद अभी असम में वो स्टेप निकाल रहा है कि ये मुस्लिम सहायक में ब्रदर हो सकते. They are only terrorists. इनफैक्ट ये जो अभी जो चल रहा है टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पर अगर नहीं छोड़ा, they had a secret agenda by 2035 they want to make India a Muslim nation. मतलब it's like पाकिस्तान, अफगानिस्तान, ईरान और इराक. अभी जैसे ही मोदी आया है, they don't like it. बोलता है कि ये भगवा झंडा ये, अच्छा ठीक है हम भगवा झंडा हटा देते हैं, तुम कौन सा झंडा हटा रहे हैं? That is wrong. Yes, a secular country. And sorry to say, when this temple construction was not started, there were many Gurujis who used to come to the channel. They used to cry. बोलते कि हमारा ही जन्मभूमि है, हमारा ही राम का पैदाइशी जन्म है और हम रो रहे होते हैं. Sorry to say, बोलते हैं 95% हिंदूज है इंडिया में, फिर भी हमारा टेबल को बांधने के लिए अपने ही परमिशन. अभी किसी स्टैटिस्टिक्स में वो रिपोर्ट में कुछ चलो इसको रिवर्स करते हैं, 95% मुस्लिम्स रहते हैं एंड हम कुछ हिंदू से समझो. आज तक आप हमारे साथ क्या नहीं करते. ये पाकिस्तान में हो रहा है, लड़कियों को जबरदस्ती शादी करवाता है, हिंदू कन्वर्ट कर देता है. Muslim. बोलते जब independence हुआ, there were 19% Hindus in Pakistan. Hardly now even 5% are Hindus. किधर गए बाकी? बोलते मर गए. अरे इतना कैसे मर गए? किधर गए? All converted into Islam. So देखो, we are not about against the religion, but forceful conversion नहीं करना. Understood the topic? So is there any other points you want to give the notes? मैंने बहुत short में दिया है. You want to write in on your next course. Phenomenon. What is the next topic then? Review. We shall here. Powers and jurisdiction. Jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. A simple remember. When I use this word, jurisdiction, okay, we have to study for Supreme as well as High Court. If I want to explain in a very simple manner, it has first one, original jurisdiction. Then two, appellate jurisdiction. What a spelling देख लेना. Then advisory jurisdiction. Fourth, supervisory jurisdiction. Five है financial कुछ है या उतना ही. मैंने वो वाला appellate तो हो गया. Okay, ये ऐसा heading है. Okay, just understand this. Now the word jurisdiction simply refers the powers. How long the Supreme Court or the High Court can extend their power. Since Supreme Court is the which court of India? What does it mean? No other court in India is higher than Supreme Court. We always believe it as these following, for which the High Court also enjoys, but the High Court enjoys within the state. Now Supreme Court enjoys all over India. First is original jurisdiction. I write like this. These are those cases. I'm saying these are those cases which directly enter into Supreme Court. Correct? Supreme Court. Then you ask me, which cases? Case between center on one side and a state on the other side. Center and state on one side and one more state on the other side. Understood? Central government on one side and a state on the other side. Next, center and state on one side and one more state on the opposite side. And between two states like Gujarat and Maharashtra for years fighting for the boundary. Correct. So these are those cases which directly enter into Supreme Court. What is original? Now appellate. What is appellate? Now the judgment was given in a High Court. And so there are two parties. One was X, another was Y. Out of this, what X is accepted, but Y has appealed. Appeal against the judgment, and once the appeal is passed, the case can be moved to a higher. So that is called appellate jurisdiction. I mean, that doesn't mean every judgment given is going to be appealed, because already our courts are overburdened. Correct? It is the discretion of the Supreme Court, if the cases comes from High Court, whether to accept the appeal or not. I mean, I'm not an established lawyer, but I know few things. I don't know the sections. And so once the judgment has been passed, in the absence of inadequate evidence. What is inadequate? Evidence comes up with judgment making. And the evidences were not properly, understood. And the third, altogether the case was presented in the wrong manner. The judges are not going to go into the crime scene. अभी श्रुति is reporting to me, sir, मैंने ये देखा ऐसे देखा, उसके बेस पे अपना जजमेंट दूंगा. I am not gone. If you have reported wrong, then the judgment will also be tend to be wrong. So there are various grounds on which the appeals are made. Once the higher court is understood, yes, the case needs some second round of inquiry, then only the appeals are accepted. Such jurisdiction is called as appellate jurisdiction. Third is advisory. I say very simple. I mean, your generation, the biggest thing that you don't like is advice. Good. But Indians are very good in giving because वो सबसे free में है. But younger generation में term होगा. So what is this advice? It is the higher court gives the advice to the lower court. I mean, Supreme Court can give advisory jurisdiction to the High Court. High Court give an advisory jurisdiction to the lower courts. I mean, on what grounds? Supreme Court says that there are certain sections in which you did not follow the procedure strictly, or there are certain evidences on which you could have done better. I don't know about your parents' happiness with you based on your studies. Whatever you might get your best marks, but for your parents, इतना ही क्या? आप बोले क्या काम करो next time. क्यों? मतलब इससे अच्छा आएगा ना? Then definitely they will not ask. So here the expectation of the higher court over the lower court is very simple. What is that? That as I am working, you must also work. If I want to explain the word expectation from you, I do not expect marks, and that also greatest marks. But I need the best marks. So we always believe only one thing. What is that? The judges of the Supreme Court. You come in the second lecture. I am going to wind up. Why so late?
Sir, I was not well.
You were not ill.
I was not well.
So wait for a few minutes. I'll take you the second. Just अभी खत्म नहीं करना. So what I was saying? नहीं, but we always believe that my expectation must not match with yours. Now I understood. So from Supreme Court to the lower court, the performance or the functioning or the procedure should be more or less same. But India में comedy ऐसा है, High Court has given a death sentence, Supreme Court has given an independence. जाओ तो ये क्या comedy? मतलब the procedures followed in the High Court was wrong, or the procedures followed in the Supreme Court was totally wrong. अभी दोनों में से एक सच झूठ है. So Indian judiciary with laws in the books are absolutely tremendously good, but in practice we only manipulate. Okay, Indians are one beautiful citizens. You go around the world, they are only the people who do not respect the laws. Why don't, sir, Indians? Why don't you, sir? No, sir. Understood? So we believe only one thing, that the performance or the functioning of all the courts has to match to their, at least the judgment process. Simple way. If you are entering a Supreme Court, the judgment procedure, you have never seen in your life what it is going on. But you enter into a lower court, it's like an ordinary building where some judge is sitting in the corner and two lawyers coming and they're just standing. Sir, ये क्या सर? ये कानून का ये क्या मजाक क्या सर? सर यही कोर्ट है. फिर मैं आपको लोक अदालत एक्सप्लेन करूं, वो तो और भी मजा है. लोक अदालत सर है ना मोबाइल बैन. वो जाके वो एक बैन एक विलेज में कोने में खड़ा हो जाता है. नेक्स्ट एक महीने तक वही कोर्ट है. पर दूसरा महीने में बैन आ गया. What does it mean? They are giving a speedy and quick justice. That is okay. But if the judgment procedure is any wrong, it is advice. अब ये तो judiciary का हो गया. Now central government can be advised by the Supreme Court when they are signing legal agreements with foreign countries. Similarly, High Court can advise its state when it is entering agreement with the other state. I don't know, in our language we call this attorneys. Attorneys. What about? Many. Attorneys are those people who are legal, learned people who knows when two governments are entering agreement, what are the ifs and buts and do's and don'ts. So that is advice. Next is the word supervisor. You might have seen in your exam hall. Did you see what does a supervisor do? That is so slow. Supreme Court is a supervisory for all the courts. I mean, it is so busy it cannot. But they give us a circular. They give a news bulletin. They might have a small meeting. Not every time. Quarterly, second, half-yearly or something. What do they do? It's very simple. Simple in what sense? They supervise the functioning of the lower courts to improve their efficiency. Instead of giving an advice to you, I say, why don't you improve your way of functioning? And the first question should be, क्या है? तुमको क्या तकलीफ है? क्या problem है? No problem कुछ नहीं है. You are going out of the line and giving a wrong judgment, for which the Supreme Court is the right body to explain. If your friend who is 5 years younger to you comes and advises, you will give a tight slap. है ना? होना भाई सिर पर कर निकल ऐसे. Maybe 1 or 2 years elder to you advise, forget about the slapping. At least you listen. But here the time has become a little bit around. Around in what sense? Today's baby born might ask you a question. क्या है? जरा हाँ क्या है? कल देखा टीवी में ये चल रहा था. Because the times are changing now. So what is the meaning of the word supervisory? High Court and Supreme Court issues timely periodicals, timely maxims, convene the meeting. Because once the people's faith is removed, not removed, is out of what do you call it, the judiciary, then what is the use of democracy? Like yesterday, if you have seen that Art Minister going to the CBI inquiry, a big band of cars, and he was standing in an open car, and he was chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai, as if he is going for the freedom fight. And they were saying, I am the Bhakta Bhagat Singh, I am the Bhakta. In fact, he went to the Rajghat, the place where Mahatma Gandhi is buried. मैं पहले उधर जा रहा हूँ, आशीर्वाद ले रहा हूँ, उधर जा रहा हूँ. भाई तू करने क्या जा रहा है? वो पहले बता. उसके नाम का लिकर स्कैम हुआ, लिकर स्कैम. But वो लोग उस बारे में बात नहीं करते. बोलते हैं उन्होंने स्कूल बनाया, ये बनाया. You remember I showed some videos of that. So why I'm saying it, whenever the supervisory function comes in, it is the Supreme Court and the High Court. So the last and the most important is the word revisory function. In fact, इसको हम judicial review भी बोलते हैं. What is judicial review? In fact, all the courts, especially the Supreme and the High Court, all the judgments are recorded. What is recorded? If you become a lawyer, maybe next 5 years down the line, you might refer the case which was done in 1951. Because now the case that you are fighting is similar to the case which was fought in that. पूरा details रहता है. पहले तो library था, अभी तो आपको CD या files में मिल जाता है. And you refer, and when you are putting your argument, you say, sir, by this time, this date, this judgment, this was relevant, and then your case becomes very weighted. So what is this word revisory? Whatever judgments they given earlier. Now the same judgment can come to your case, but in a revisory manner. Age of 50 years, age of 60 years have happened. That judgment was valid 50 years before. But if a similar case comes now, you can refer to the case. You get all the details. The judge name, judgment, what are the findings, how many months the case has happened, what are the evidence, everything you will get. So you are benefited that you are making a project by only changing the title and project is someone has made. Only minor changes you make. So this is nothing but revisory jurisdiction. Now read all through any comes, then we will give you the notes also because 20, na? We got 10 minutes break. Okay? Thank you. I thought only my lecture you are attendance